Hey everyone, it's Ange at Soul City Center, where we discuss artsy, weirdo, vintage, indie, and artisanal perfumery from time to time. If you like that, you were in the correct place. Thank you so much for joining me again. I hope everyone is doing absolutely fantastic and ready to crush this week. Let's talk about one of the prettiest bottles in my collection. So, not the most ornate, not the most luxurious, not the most expensive, bottle-wise, but pretty, in my opinion. So tonight we are discussing John Galliano, Parfum numéro 1. This bottle, in my opinion, is awesome. I don't want to say a bottle's sexy, but it kind of is. So it goes ombre, purple to pink. Believe it or not, I'm obsessed with hot pink and black. So when I saw this, I was like, I'm buying this. I don't give a shit what's inside. But when I found out what's inside, I literally peed and screamed like a girl. So let's talk about this straight away. So we'll go over the notes briefly. The notes briefly. Comparables, again, there's not really one, in my opinion. Where I'd wear this and then just kick it. So let's quickly go into John Galliano. Galliano. I know a guy called John Galliano. Anyways, I digress. So John Galliano is... Oh, hold on, my internet's working. No. Okay, so onto the house of John Galliano. So he was born John Charles Galliano, 28 November 1960. I don't know what astrological sign that is. I'm the only queer person that does not follow astrology. Anyway, I digress. So he's a fashion designer. He's one of the designers similar to Tom Ford, Christian Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Alexander McQueen, that was predominantly a fashion designer first. And then through the evolution, their success, they said, let's make a fragrance also. So that was kind of his thing. So he worked most notably for Givenchy and Christian Dior. And then later in his career, he worked for Maison Margiela. So Maison Margiela is actually known worldwide, I think, in parts more so for their fragrance line than they are for, their fashion line than they are for their fragrance line. The only fragrances I have from them really is one called Mutiny that's not part of the replica line, and I actually like it from time to time. I haven't worn it in a while. I probably should. But he was there from 2014 to 2024. I guess he retired. Anyway, and in 2004, he was named the most influential person in British culture. Now, in 2010, he was sadly caught on camera, absolutely just 3 sheets to the wind, saying some really not cool things. But he did his time, made up that debt to society, and now he's back in the game. So, about John Galliano. So, onto the fragrance. So, when I saw the notes for this fragrance, my little fragrance heart kind of pitter-pattered. So again, this fragrance is done by Christine Nagel and Aurelian Guichard, 2 fantastic perfumers, absolutely great. So from the get, I was like, this is going to be great. This is released in 2008. This is the EDP. The EDP is a similar bottle, but it's white and pink, so light pink goes to white. Unfortunately, after this EDP EDT, his newer releases for fragrances are all in this generic square cube bottle. So I was like, bro, how did you go from this to generic? But okay, whatever. So the top notes are Aldehydes, Angelica, and Bergamot. Heart notes of Iris, Lavender, Peony, Violet, and Rose. And base notes are frankincense, amber, patchouli, cedar, and musk per perfumo. That's what we can get. So when I saw Aldehydes, Angelica, and Bergamot, I went, oh my god, this is going to smell like Jean Couturier coriander. And to my nose, it does. So let's talk about coriander briefly because I want to do a full review. It was released in 1973 as an EDT. It's a cool bottle. It's frosted, and then it's got this lucite green top, emerald green top. Really pretty. And that was done by a guy called, that was Jacqueline Couturier. It was a lady. Good on her. And those notes in the top are Angelica, coriander, aldehydes, and orange blossom. So again, this one's only missing the orange blossom, which would be really beautiful. Coriander is so fantastic and happens to be Mark Sage's proclaimed favorite perfume of all time. Shalimar is a close second. So anyway, the opening of this smells like coriander, although not as punchy. So it's a little bit more subdued than coriander is. Now, the heart of John Galliano, to me, smells like 2 fragrances. The first is Diorling EDC OG completely. There's a bottle that's got this houndstooth pattern on the bottom, says Christian Dior, and the top's also a houndstooth pattern with a little ribbon. If you do want to pursue Diorling, please don't get a bottle that is more than a quarter or so missing, because the top notes, I think it's hyacinth and bergamot, I believe, go away. They just go to shit quickly. Oh yeah, I can look at it. So, but the mid of this reminds me of the mid of Dior Diorling. Also kind of Guerlain Chamade, but no lilac. So, the mid of this, so the mid notes are rose, iris, jasmine, lily of the valley. Now, Chamade has an additional lilac note, and I think it's lily, not lily of the valley. But again, it smells like those two, and I love Chamade, and I love Diorling. So it goes coriander, Chamade, or Diorling. Now, the base, I love Caramel Yes again. It is a fantastic fragrance. It was actually 1976, and the perfumer for that one is Vincent Marcello. Oh, I'm sorry, the perfumer for Diorling was Paul Vacher. I don't know about him, but that was the perfumer for Diorling. For Yadigan is great. So, in my opinion, you don't need to spend crazy money getting the OG version of Yadigan. There's 3 different versions. The OG, kind of mid-range, and then the newest one. And by mid-range, I mean post-reformulation, before the newest reformulation. Yadigan is just so awesome. And the mid, again, the base, in that there's labdanum leather, oak moss, styrax, amber, coconut, just as a blender, and musk. But for some reason, John Galliano reminds me of that. So those are different, right? It's frankincense, amber, patchouli, cedar, musk. The amber is not as prominent to my nose as is the patchouli and the frankincense. Cedar you get at times, and musk depending on the heat. But it's gorgeous. So how it progresses on my skin, the top's like 30-ish minutes. The mid's anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours or so. And the base, it gets closer to my skin than Yadigan would. But that lasts about 2 hours or so. So I get about 5 or 6 hours, depending on hydration, hormones, all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. So again, 3 fragrances that I adore are kind of sandwiched together into this beautiful bottle. Comparables, there's really nothing to my nose. Let me check Parfumo. Parfumo says there's a generic version of this called Yonita from a house called Real Time. The bottle kind of, if you go on Parfumo and look at it, I don't think it smells like it is. They have caftan on here. You say alcohol caftan. I don't think it smells like that at all. And there's a couple other things that are way less down in the Parfumo. I trust Parfumo comparisons more than anything. So I don't really see the caftan comparison. But most people know this as really a beautiful vintage style fragrance. So it's noted on base notes on Parfumo and Fragrantica as really a beautiful vintage style fragrance that settles into an incense, beautiful fragrance. And I agree. It's absolutely stunning and fantastic. The bottle's great. No comparables. And where I'd wear this. So I would wear this probably anywhere. I wore this to my son's soccer game today. Actually, I lied. If there are sensitive noses, hospital, public transport, school, I would definitely see how this plays out on your skin. I'd never test things on strip because I'm like, why would I even do that to myself, right? You're going to smell it on strip and then, oh, it's like whiskey. No. So I don't know what it would smell like on paper, but I'd put it on your skin, see how it does. Try to be a little more liberal in your sprays at first. And if you find that it's not giving you what you want, go. You can spray with some Gabian and go for it. But yeah, I would wear that anywhere except sensitive noses place at first. But it's so beautiful. And vintage heads will just rejoice, in my opinion, for this. So thank you for sticking with me for John Galliano perfume number one, the review of the house, the notes, some comparables, where I'd wear this, etc. I will see you all again soon. Take care. Love you guys. Bye.